I'm in my dressing gown tonight.
Casual.
Welcome everyone everywhere to another installment of the Elite Thinking Club. I'm Jules, Julien. I'm joined tonight by my co-hosts Liz Barker, Michael Houchen, and a special guest, Lucas Hilsum. You all right, Lucas?
I'm good,
You all
thanks.
right,
How are
Liz? You all
you?
right, Michael? Yeah, I'm buzzing and blessed. Michael, Liz, you guys good?
Yeah,
good,
very good, mate.
Good to see
Nice.
Luke again.
It is. Big ups to everyone tuning in right now, to our viewers. See you, trust us on the TikTok, YouTube, and on the Twitch right now. Yeah, it is good to see Lucas again. For those that don't know, Lucas was around from day one when we first started the Elite Thinking Club 2 years ago. Lucas, I sent a message and was like, "We need to get a podcast on the go," and he was like, "Yeah, Jules, I'll try and do it within my uni studies." But obviously, education is priority in Lucas's life. But Lucas, welcome back 2 years later, mate. It's good to see you, man.
Good to see you all as well. Thanks for having me.
Mate, when you messaged me and was like, "Jules, I'm back from uni for a bit," and I was like, "Well, we got to meet up, man. We need to link up." And obviously, we did. Went for a coffee, and we had a real interesting conversation. One, it was really good to see how far you've come in 2 years. I mean, we're going to touch on that later on in the episode, but to actually touch on some of the subjects that you were highlighting, it really made me think. And I was like, wow. If you're about, still join us Monday night. Join us on the ETC for an episode. So, thanks for being here. Right. I just wanted to start this episode with something that really got my mind boggling. So I was on TikTok the other day and I saw a video of this kid. I say kid, that's not really fair. He was a young adult and he shared something that has been baffling him for a very long time. Now, I want to know what you guys think towards this. So do you have a pen and paper to hand? If not, quickly try and get one real quick.
Okay, let me find.
Truth Seeker, I see you. Big up to yourself.
I had a pen.
John the Ace, I see you. Big up yourself.
We had a pen on here.
John and Kerry, been a while. It has been a while, but I see you.
I've got one. Yep.
Good to see you.
Brand new one from Honor.
All right, let's go. Everyone just get a pen and paper for a sec. I want to share something with you that I saw on TikTok the other day, and it really did boggle my brain. And I did think, why is that not a thing? But why is it a thing? Okay, so the first thing I want you to do is write down the numbers 1, 2, and 3 next to each other.
Done.
All right. Then under number 1, write 4. Under number 2, write 5. And under number 3, write 6. Then under number 4, write 7. Under number 5, write 8. And under number 6, write 9. Now, this is the fun part. When you see these numbers, notice the pattern, notice the trend from the start to the end. Number 1, in most cases, is a straight line. Number 2, in most cases, is a curve with a straight line. And number 3 is just curves. Moving on. Number 4, straight lines. Number 5, straight lines with a curve. And number 6, curves. Number 7, straight lines. Now, this is where it boggled me. And this is what this kid explained. And I think this is incredible. Number 8, curves. Number 9, curves in a straight line. Now, as far as patterns go and trends, the last 2 letters are the wrong way around. It should go straight line, curve, straight line, curve. Straight line, curve, straight line, curve. Then 7 is straight line, but 8 and 9 are the wrong way around. What the fuck? Like, seriously, what the fuck? Now, now you can't unsee that. And you're very welcome, by the way, if that's the first time you've seen that or thought about that. And it boggled me. And the reason why it boggled me is because I'm not sure if everybody knows, but I'd like to say everybody knows 8 is the infinity number. 8 is the final, if anything, of full circle, if you will. What goes around comes back around. It's like a very, very known thing in the spiritual realm. 9, being a curve and a straight line, shouldn't be the end. It should be before 8, and 8 should be at the end. Now, this is the more incredible thing. Whoever created those numbers obviously didn't catch on, or maybe they did. Who knows? But now you're seeing it. I want to get your initial reaction to it. So, first person, Liz, is that the first time you've ever thought about that
Yeah,
or seen that?
I didn't know where you were going with it at all, and then yeah, now I've seen it like that. I kind of get what you're saying, but yeah.
Michael, is that the first time you've seen that or thought about that?
Well, it is, but it's more because this is where people read into stuff that it shouldn't be read into.
And Lucas, is this the first time you've seen this or heard about this, or have you seen this before?
No, it's the first time, and I think there's bigger things to worry about than whether 8 and 9 are the right way around or not.
I'm with Lucas.
And that is very, very true. Now, obviously, guys, I just wanted to go into the episode with that, but because the reason I started thinking way deep into it is because obviously I understand that we're not the first people to come up with numbers. Obviously, the Romans had numerals, and there was so many other things that other civilizations have used to obviously show a symbol for numbers. But it just so happens in our civilization that is the trend of 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. But for some reason, 8 and 9 are the wrong way around. Now, I know it's not that deep, or is it? So obviously, if the 8 and 9 symbol was reversed, but we kept the word for them the same, happy days. It doesn't change anything. It doesn't change a thing. We could just literally, even on your digital clock, even on your household clock, 8 and 9 could be swapped around and we would still adhere to the same time. But it's just a coincidence, or is it not, that they've switched the symbol? Spiritually, 8 is the infinite number. And it should, I believe, be in the trend with the remaining numbers. But anyway, that's just something to
Maybe
get the
there's a reason
thoughts going.
why it isn't. Maybe there's some sort of, I don't know, deeper, like cryptic way of it.
Shout out to True
in there
Sequel
that way.
comments right now. She's hitting it with, I believe that true is a deeper meaning. Numbers run the world, so definitely messed with it. Yes, like if you were to go into, if you will, deeper realms of geometric shapes as well as numbers and numerology and all that stuff, it
The Egyptians
definitely
had
does
an
mess.
amazing system, didn't they?
Well, anyway, let's not worry about it too much. I just wanted to go into the episode with that, and that was something there to get people's brains flowing with the esoteric thinking. Yeah, here at the Elite Thinking Club, we're non-biased as well. We're going to attack some society's issues tonight. We're going to talk about many things that some may find offensive, but we're not trying to offend. Seriously, we're not. We're just esoteric thinkers. We explore things and stretch the mind. Why? The reason I believe the mind is so powerful is because, like water, adding a droplet to another droplet and continuing it on, it does create a little pool. Adding more creates a little pond. Adding more creates a sea. And thought is the same thing in concept. The more minds that you can combine, the more mastermind is created, and therefore expansion of the thought. So that's where I wanted to go with that. Shout out to everybody viewing right now. And if you haven't done so, definitely follow us on either YouTube, Twitch, or the TikTok. So first thing I wanted to go through right now is obviously welcoming back Lucas. Welcome back.
Welcome back, Lucas.
Thank you. It's a pleasure. Missed you too, Liz.
Oh.
If all those watching that can't see us right now, head over to the YouTube, able to see myself, Michael, Liz, and Lucas. So, Lucas, you obviously helped start the Elite Thinking Club 2 years ago, but obviously you did say to me, Jules, I'm at uni and I need to focus on my studies. So, geophysics is what you said you were studying, and are you still studying geophysics?
Yeah, so I finished my undergrad. I'm now doing a master's, and I'm researching in a very particular field that is very applicable to current affairs.
Okay, now obviously for those just tuning in and aren't sure exactly what you mean when he says geophysics and what's involved, can you in 2 minutes try and help us understand exactly what it is that you do?
Yeah, so it's the maths and the physics behind how the world works and how our solar system interacts within the wider universe. More specifically, I'm focused onto our planet and current climate pressure. So that's what I focus on, but I have a broad understanding of the maths, the numbers, the stats behind the natural processes that occur on our planet.
Interesting.
I love that. And exactly why people like you are needed, because as far as like spirituality and reality and then all of the things combined, there's so many things to think about. I'm so glad that you are focusing on, if you will, stats, facts, and figures. So am I right in saying that, Lucas, you can predict the natural like the weather to begin with? Is that a good thing to? Is that right in saying?
Yeah. So it's not particularly what I'm focused in on, but we have studied certain modules with weather predictions. But the bit I focus on is more climate change, so more long scale opposed to the weather, which will be the sort of a day-to-day scale or time frame. Mine's more sort of months to years on scale.
Right. So is that in essence like the movement of the ocean, volcanic eruption, and hurricanes and stuff like that? Am I on the right track here?
Yeah. So climate and weather are very closely linked, but also very different at the same time. So your weather will be the rain outside, the snow if you're in certain parts of the UK at the moment, or the sun if you're down close to the equator or over in Australia. And that changes day to day. So today it might have rained, but tomorrow it won't. And we can make short-term predictions, but it's very hard to predict and be accurate because it's based off of different air pressures and temperatures of sort of the Gulf streams and stuff like that. Climate is more long-term change, so irreversible change that is driven off of processes like volcanoes, carbon emissions, stuff that where the humans are sort of having a big impact on our planet, which can cause some processes to become out of line with each other because of temperature changes.
Right. So am I right in thinking that if all the humans in the world chose to do something at one time, it would have a massive effect on the natural order of what it is that you study stats and facts on?
Yeah.
Right. Okay. Because there was this massive push one time for banning plastic straws. Now, is that either just a society going on some mad buzz, or is it actually something that will affect the future of our planet?
So plastic pollution in the oceans would destroy ecosystems. So like turtles are that was the big push in society, was to protect the turtles, because plastic is commonly just dumped in oceans and it collects in certain areas depending on sort of currents and stuff. But the plastic pollution was an easily accessible thing that people could do. It's very easy to pick up put your recycle effectively, and not just litter wherever you want. That's very easy for people to do. It doesn't take much effort. The bigger issues are sort of carbon emissions, because I'm sure everyone today has driven a car. Even if you've got an electric car, it's still polluting the planet. Battery formation and stuff like that.
Exactly.
There's loads and loads of factors that come into this, and my research is based on predicting what's going to happen.
Wow. I mean, don't get me wrong, I unbiasedly do this channel from all angles, but there are some things that sometimes I stand very firm on, and that's my belief, which is going to tap into a couple more things that we're going to talk about later on tonight. But guys, if you're interested in what Lucas is doing right now, definitely take a look at what he's doing. Lucas, am I right in saying that, yeah, you're studying for your master's, but already people are approaching you and calling for you to step in and, take these big talks? And am I right in thinking that I'm looking forward to, or I'm expecting big things from you, Lucas, because it sounds like not many people are doing what you're doing. Do you get what I mean? In your field, makes sense.
So loose lips sink ships. So I'm not going to say too much, but
who told you that?
Some are very wise. A very close friend.
That's a really good saying.
But yeah, it depends on what my research is, what it comes to. Now, at the moment, I'm still in the process of creating the model. It's nearly done. I reckon in the next couple of weeks it'll be finished and I can start to write it up and analyze it. But yeah, there are people that are interested in what I'm doing. And as a master's, I'm up against some PhD students and other people, and the university are pushing for me to do what I'm doing. So yeah, there are people in contact with me.
I think I speak on behalf of me and Liz and Michael, and so we're very proud of you, Lucas. Very proud. Very, very proud, especially at your age as well. And I don't mean that in an ageist way. I mean it in genuine that not many people your age are as focused and dedicated to a cause like you are. So congratulate yourself, my brother. We're congratulating you with you. And bro, I'm expecting and looking forward to some really good things, man. So yeah, man, big up my boy Lucas, man. Fucking hell.
I'll keep you all updated.
Oh. So on about this, Dr. Nichols, I see you, my brother. Salute. Amanda, I see you. Big up yourself. Love my TikTok family, everybody there. I see you guys. Big love, big love. Right. So on this, what we touched on really about plastic pollution, but then obviously there's bigger issues like carbon emissions and all that stuff that I'm very grateful that people like Lucas are out there keeping an eye on things and then predicting best ways to go about and best practices to go about, but also highlighting that we have a massive impact as the people of this planet on how we can affect that. So I was chatting to one of the technicians at work the other day, and he was chuffing on an elf bar. Now, I have smoked elf bars in the past, and this is something that I wanted to look into because I wanted to ask myself, like, I'm quite a disciplined person, but how is it that I've fallen into this trap? Now, Michael, I know you like a vape. You know that I like a vape. But are you on the elf bars? Yes. So okay, cool. So Michael's holding up right now. If you can't see him, he's holding up an elf bar, and it's funny. Now, I did a little bit of research into these elf bars because one thing that like shocked me so much is how they have blown up in such a short period of time. It's almost like everywhere I go, everybody is smoking these elf bars. Now, I know like attracts like, law of attraction, you are what you are, and it also brings more into it because when I quit smoking cigarettes, for example, I no longer hang around with smokers. I don't see them, I don't know them, I don't really attract them. However, since vaping obviously it is the law of the laws, natural laws, so or spiritual laws, however you want to look at it, I looked into it, and these elf bars are becoming a bit of, if you will, a pandemic of their own. They are global and they are viral and they are very, very addictive. And I wanted to know why. Looked into it, obviously, besides the marketing, which is very good, bright colors, and it's the new thing. It's not quite smoking, so it's healthier for you. And you don't have to light a cigarette. You don't smell as bad. It tastes better. It doesn't, all them things. Now, obviously, it's quite young in its early stages, so they haven't done enough research on whether or not it is long-term effect unhealthy and all sorts of stuff like that. But one thing is for sure, the amount of nicotine that one elf bar contains is the equivalent of 42 cigarettes.
Wow.
Can I just jump in here? Sorry, you said a minute ago that it's healthier than smoking cigarettes.
I didn't say that.
Did you not? I thought you just did.
It's advertised as that.
Okay, it might be
I don't think I said it, but go on. Yes, Lucas, keep going.
With some people that will take that argument as it is healthier. I disagree. I think the cheaper side of the vapes, which cost a couple of pounds, imported from China with a huge amount of carbon monoxide in, how are you trusting exactly what, for something so cheap that's shipped from China as well, how are you trusting that what's inside of that plastic cylinder is actually what it says on the tin? For something so cheap, I think it's
get them from somewhere like Elf Bar that go through the regulations, and they have to put in, because they've already banned some stuff because the earlier vapes used to have some stuff in them that didn't agree. Like where you see people have been hurt by vapes. That's because they're putting chemicals in them that they can't have. But Elf Bar and all the other ones that are legit can't put these things in there.
Aye. Now, we have always had these conversations about legal and illegal substances that obviously the governments not only make a lot of money from on tax, but also deem what are legal and what are not. For example, there are some consumable drugs out there that have pretty much no negative effect on anyone. However, they're illegal. And then there are those that have massive, massive negative effects on people, if not allergic reactions, when consuming a lot of it, and yet that is very legal. And cigarettes is no different. Like everything you consume is a drug. Let's get it right. We've talked about this in previous episodes. However, smoking and consuming nicotine is a very addictive substance. And just going back to what I said about how one elf bar contains the same amount of nicotine as 42 cigarettes, that is alarming. So alarming.
That's shocking.
Very shocking. And not a lot of people know that. And this is what's not advertised, obviously, by them because they want to sell more elf bars. But the reason why it's become so massive, if you will, it's blown up, it's so popular, is because of that, in my opinion, one thing. And opinions aren't facts, but that's the only way I can really see how they've managed to grip hold of so many people.
Like as in addiction, like as in,
yes, as in
it's
addiction.
because it contains that same what they would have got from the cigarettes.
Yes, and
Yeah.
because
Okay.
it's less nasty,
How have they got that through though? How
it's
have they
less
got it
nasty.
through?
Well, they do
Like,
say, they do promote it, but no one reads the small print. No one.
oh, okay.
You know,
Okay.
they don't take it upon themselves to do some research to that
Yeah.
degree, and therefore it becomes, from that first puff, a mega hit of dopamine satisfaction. If not, it's very enjoyable as well, just like a cigarette. You know, it is actually really enjoyable. Some people like smoking after they eat, some people like smoking after sex, some people just like smoking for conversation. It's like a social thing. But the elf bar itself, you know, you'll see people finishing one in a day only to start their next one the next day. So in essence, in like, you know, 5 days, you are smoking 200 cigarettes.
Wow.
The equivalent of nicotine, yeah. And it's really, really amazing that it's not pushed as much, not so many people. But anyway, I don't want to get too deep into it, but I just wanted to highlight that because it is a social, well, society's issues. I believe it is a social issue. And I just wanted to share that on the episode. Didn't know if you guys knew that, but what is the outcome? Well, in essence, I believe that vapes were invented for people to wean off of smoking. And I believe that what they were meant originally to do was to dose down the nicotine intake. So eventually you can vape without any nicotine. You can actually buy zero nicotine vape juice. So that way you are smoking, in essence, just enjoying the pleasure of vaping, but without actually becoming addicted to nicotine. Do you get what I'm saying? But what Elf Bar have managed to do is flip that, and now people are addicted to nicotine. So if anyone's watching right now, especially my younger audience, all I want to say is be aware of what you're doing and know that it might be an instant gratification, but it's going to have long-term implications. So all I will advise is check on what you're doing. And it might be a good idea to still enjoy the vape, because I understand it. I vape, you know, I'm not a hypocrite. I can't sit here and say, don't do whatever. That's not what I'm saying. But what I am saying is be very aware of how powerful nicotine is as an addictive substance. And if you are wanting to not be addicted to nicotine, but still enjoy the vape, just try and slowly wean off the nicotine. So you can still get the vape, juice it down, check how much milligrams of nicotine are in it, and then bit by bit, you may find yourself still enjoying the vape, but with zero nicotine substance in the juice. And that's all I wanted to share with the younger audience. Big up my girl Millie, I see you on the TikTok. Shout out, shout out. Big up my man Chris, I see you, I see you. Anyway, moving on. Perspective. We spoke about perspective on the last episode, and tonight I wanted to bring something to the table to hear what you guys had to think about this. Now, viewers, get ready for the comments. I definitely want to know what you guys think about this. But Liz, Michael, and Lucas, you guys, I'm going to say something, and then you guys take it in turns and let me know what you think. I had a conversation with a person at work the other day, and it is in his religion to make a sacrifice to his gods. And not just any sacrifice, a worthy sacrifice. So he'll travel and go to a country where it is perfectly legal, and they will sacrifice a living sentient being, not just any living sentient being, a very useful sentient being. And they sacrifice camels. Not just any camel. It can't be a lame, weak, shit camel or half-dead camel that's already on its way. It has to be a very good camel. Now, to me, when I heard that, I was quite boggled by it. I was like, I understand where you're coming from. I get it. I totally get it. Like, if it has to be a worthy sacrifice. But for me, from my perspective, I see a very good camel as a very good asset given to me by God. Why would I take a gift like a camel that is, if you will, the desert's ship, the desert's car, right? Naturally, and kill it? That doesn't make sense. But obviously, to him, it does. I want to know what you guys think about that. First person, Lucas.
I think there's two sides of it. So I'm going to be taking quite a realistic approach from this, opposed to an ideological perspective from this. You're killing something that's living. Is that ethically or morally correct? That's a good question you could ask. But also, if it's part of his religion, what sort of sacrifices or punishments would occur if this didn't occur, if he didn't sacrifice this? So what are the consequences if this sacrificial action wasn't completed? I think there's a lot of questions that I'd have to ask before I made my personal opinion on this. But I can sort of see both sides of the coin at the moment.
Okay. Michael?
Do they eat it afterwards?
This is itching. Go on, Michael.
Do they eat it afterwards, at least?
That is another good question, which I haven't asked. I'm sort of in the same position as Lucas in my thoughts, but I'm pretty sure I'm actually quite solid on my views and beliefs on it. But do they eat the camel afterwards? I'm not sure.
See, if they eat it afterwards, at least it's got used to it. But they just kill it for no reason.
No, that's not for no reason. Not for no reason. It's a
me, it is.
Okay.
To me, it is. If you have to sacrifice for a god, then probably something going wrong. But I mean, if it's losing a life for, like, as a meat eater, I can't just say no, because animals have to die for me to eat. So I can't just say I'm against it. What I'm against is if there's no reason for it to live, then yeah, I'm against it.
Okay. And finally, my little freedom fighter. Let's go, Liz.
Okay, so first of all, I'm going to say that God. Well, first of all, I'm going to say I'm not a religious person. I'm more spiritual. Second of all, God created man. Man created religion. God did not create religion. Okay, so religion is man-made. I personally don't see why a living thing has to be sacrificed based on something that's been created by man. I understand and I try and be balanced and see it from both sides, but I don't think it's fair, nor do I think it's morally, ethically right. You know, that camel deserves to kind of have its life and naturally have its life end. So I'm out on that. Sorry.
It was an odd one. Now, obviously, you know, I'm not here to cause ripples and waves and, you know, society's chaos. That's not what I'm about. I just explore things. And when I heard that, I do, for a second, see where they're coming from with it. The sacrifice has to be good enough. If it's not a good enough sacrifice, the gods won't bless us with their favor.
Why are they sacrificing? Because they believe if they give that sacrifice, then the gods are going to bless them for it.
Yeah, so you're prepared to give up an asset just to show how devoted you are to your higher belief, if that makes sense.
But what if they don't get a blessing in their lifetime? Are they not going to then question their religion?
I don't know. Something that I'll definitely have to ask when I next have a conversation.
Well, it is interesting, and I do get it. I understand that people have faith and they believe in their religion and they have every right to believe in what they want to believe. But I just think that personally, we've had these conversations before about religion. My personal opinion, which doesn't matter to anybody, but it does to me, is that I find it difficult to follow certain religions if there is harm within that religion, if there is restrictions within that religion. I'm not talking about disciplines. I'm talking about, you know, restrictions and inequality and things like that. So yeah.
And also,
yes,
it depends what they find as a blessing, because he could do it and then he could get a job. So he could find out, oh, I got this job because of that sacrifice.
But again, it's a belief system, isn't it? Is it?
Because at the end of it, at the end of the year, when he has to do another one, and someone says, "So was that last one worth it?" He'll find something in his life that he can go, "Well, that only happened because I sacrificed that last year."
Whereas if he actually just said to other people, "Yeah, I did sacrifice the camel in my back garden, but he didn't really," and the camel lived, and he still got those blessings, wouldn't that then kind of make him think,
yeah, it's like a vegan sacrifice.
I've got quite a good question for this as well. Is it so in his religion, does everyone have to do this? Because if everyone's doing it at the same time,
it's not ethical or moral.
Then surely that's not right on a broader scale. But if it's like one camel as like a group of people. Depends how big the group is.
For the whole religion.
One camel for the whole religion, and
Just want to big up the viewers that are watching right now. Truth Seeker, I see you. And T, I see you. Truth Seeker says, poor camel. T, yeah, I don't really get that, to be honest. John and John the A, so it's John and Kerry. I just want to say, if we have no religions, all the world would be a much better place. AT, I see you. I've only just joined. I hope you guys haven't nearly finished. Love these talks. Now, we're not finished just yet. We're about halfway. You're welcome. Lollipop. So how many people have to do this? Same thing Lucas said. Every person, or is it a collective? Definitely in agreement with Liz. Like lucky girl syndrome and seeing certain color and cats, etc. Yeah, I suppose where your eyes see is your perspective, I guess. And obviously your environment dictates, culture dictates, as well as influence dictates.
Mm-hmm.
A lot of people do seek the community that they find themselves aligned with. Yeah. And I believe that as long as it's not really causing harm to others, even though I do see sentient beings, like all living things, sentient, valuable, you know, and I wouldn't choose to harm them. From their perspective, I suppose they see it as I'm prepared to do this wrong to make a right, not maybe necessarily for myself, but for the global good, potentially. I don't know where they're coming from, but again, through their eyes, we try to understand. Now,
But
I'm very,
how
very
far does
grateful
it go? So if they then said, "Oh, we read it wrong," actually, you have to sacrifice a human.
I was then going to say that.
So they really
One
just got to
thing-
sacrifice a human instead.
Well, this is something that we're definitely going to
Because that's
hold
what they used to
fast
do.
for. Yeah, exactly. They did used to. And I believe this is something we should hold fast for maybe another episode that we will actually go a lot deeper into. So thank you so much, you guys, for your comments, and viewers, and you guys for voicing how you feel about that. Another comment right now from John and Kerry. We don't need false hope. That's what religion brings. I understand what that meant, that comment, but I do have to say, never deprive someone of hope. It may be the only thing they have left.
Mm-hmm. And they have the right to it as well.
So, talking about communities and people aligning with values and mindset and all those things right there, Lucas and I, when we met the other day and shared a coffee, we talked about a lot of things. And one of the things that was really highlighted right now in society's issues is the lack of leadership. So, Lucas, I'm going to let you go on with this. You mentioned that as a young man growing up in this day and age, and sorry, do you mind if I reference your age, Lucas? How old are you, my friend?
no, I was my birthday today. I turned 22.
Hey, you kept that quiet. Happy birthday, Lucas. Yo,
Birthday.
yeah, check him out. You get that quiet. Yeah,
We
happy
need to sing,
birthday.
hold on. Come on, everybody.
What, Stevie
Happy
Wonder?
birthday.
No.
Yes.
Happy birthday to you.
We're not allowed.
Happy birthday
We're not allowed to
to
sing.
you. Happy birthday.
We're not allowed.
Oh.
Blah 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 blah.
It's Lollipop's birthday as well, so big up yourself as well, one of our viewers. Happy birthday,
Happy birthday,
to you.
Lollipop.
Happy birthday.
Okay, so Lucas, you just turned 22, and the conversation we were having is obviously the lack of leadership that society needs in young men. But you mentioned two very important people, or should I say role models right now, that you are vibing more towards, that help keep your mindset aligned with what you want to achieve and all them good things. And you know, they're Andrew Tate and Jordan Peterson. And Lucas, go in with that.
I just think that stuff that people clip on social media is always out of context. Obviously, with Andrew Tate, it's a bit more ambiguous as what's going on because obviously of current situations. But Jordan Peterson, he is my number one at the moment. He is a clinic. For anyone that doesn't know, he's a clinical psychologist, and he just speaks his mind with logical, reasoned truth. Anything that I've watched of an extended piece of him talking is always reasoned, and he doesn't mind being proven wrong as long as there's reason and logic behind the argument, and he will accept when he has made a mistake, which I think is perfect for a leader. But a lot of the stuff he's written and the lectures he does is just fascinating to listen to. The way he carries himself and projects what he wants to people is, if I could speak like he does, I'd be over the moon. Speaks his mind, but in an academic way. Obviously, it has its pros and its cons, because if I was to... There you go, Liz.
Yay!
There you go. Don't ruin it. I haven't finished yet.
Sorry.
So I think the stuff he has been doing has been really helping the younger male generation to promote sort of traditional masculinity and give the younger males sort of a direction and a purpose to sort of strive for their goals. And I'm all for him. I'll take on anyone's argument against Andrew Tate or Jordan Peterson, and I'm with them.
I have a different view on Andrew Tate, but I think I'm conflicted with Andrew Tate, because with Andrew Tate, I think that a lot that gets shown about him sometimes can be twisted, which media does a lot of the time, manipulates people's views. However, some of the stuff I've seen, I do think some younger lads, some younger men or boys could, if they're vulnerable, or if they don't have actual male masculine role models in their lives, I think there's parts of things that he says and promotes that isn't actually healthy masculinity, whereas Jordan Peterson, I think, is, because not just from an academic point of view, but from a more realistic and traditional masculine point of view. So I find Andrew Tate can come across quite sometimes narcissistic, misogynistic, and unhealthily promoting masculinity in a different light. But then there's some stuff that he does talk about, I think he's absolutely bang on.
Yeah. Sorry,
let's look at this from a perspective of generations to begin with, and see the perspective through Jordan Peterson's eyes, and then see it through Andrew Tate's eyes, well, as a generation. I understand masculinity as an energy, and I understand femininity as an energy. And what you're talking about with Jordan Peterson is how he can articulate so well what he believes, what he thinks, and has a well-rounded view of perspective, in a sense, what you are as a male in society. A lot of it is backed by stats and figures from the past, which promote a very healthy future should we still continue on that wave. Andrew Tate, I believe, is a very, very direct approach, straight to the point, very blunt with what he believes. But I also see from his generation a lot of burn, a lot of pain, simply because we're not born in the same time as Jordan Peterson, who has had the time. Now, I'm not saying that all generations have a different set of obstacles, but I am saying that should you put Andrew Tate in Jordan Peterson's peer group, age group, we may have seen a different Andrew Tate. But because he's from a generation that he's from, he has, in a way, had to become the man he is today in order to be the man he is today. I speak for myself when I say, being from perspective wise, once I was a soldier, I was conditioned to see the world through the eyes of my upbringing, through my life as a soldier. And it was very narrow, very shallow, very direct, and very, if you will, masculine energy, a lot of masculine energy, actually. My life before that, growing up, without direct guidance, which I believe you find, Lucas, through Jordan Peterson and Andrew Tate, leadership in males, it's very difficult if you're not given that to understand how to approach the world as a male. Then you step into your own light and discover things that actually you become well-rounded, in a sense where you study the failures and, if you will, face them yourself. That's one of the main things that I believe those two men have managed to overcome, and now they're, if you will, shedding their light, passing their light on to next generations through their story. So obviously when you relate to that, you can see and aspire to be, if not them, obviously your best self through them. Does that make sense? That's what I'm seeing.
No, definitely. I think as well, there's the core beliefs of Andrew Tate are directly correlated to the core beliefs of Jordan Peterson. However, a lot of the stuff that gets clipped in social media about Andrew Tate is 90% of the time out of context, and is usually in the form of a joke. If you find a longer clip, it's always not meant as face value. But if you follow a lot of the stuff he says and listen to him a lot of the core beliefs are directly correlated to Jordan Peterson. I mean, I'm not going to stand here and say that Andrew Tate is an angel, but I think he's done more good for society than negative.
Another thing that didn't help him a lot was the algorithm set up by these media platforms. In essence, if you are a person who, I don't know, are going into in a spiritual sense, shadow work, and you're trying to look inward at yourself, at all the negative qualities that you have that are holding you back from your best self, and then you're obviously working on light work, which is your best self, always trying to be that. Sometimes the algorithm, depending on what you like on media platforms, will play on that. So if you're in a state of, you know, shade, a darkness, seeing the world in a negative view, the more stuff you see of that, the more it shows. So what I'm getting at is a lot of people who seek the guidance and the qualities in a person will see clips and images of that person doing quality stuff. But someone who is in their negative state will only see negative. Does that make sense? So when someone has said something narcissistic or misogynistic and that's it, that's all the algorithm will show. So it didn't really help him when people want to see the full version of him, because on their algorithm it will only show the negative stuff because that's all they're watching. Does that make sense? Do you get what I'm saying? Understand what I'm saying?
Makes sense. But it also didn't help him the fact that he was such a big figure. Andrew Tate, he's such a big figure, and he doesn't need the mainstream to get in there. So there was a lot of hate stuff put his way. Like, I've seen a video of him talking about he's gonna grab a woman by the throat and hit her with a baseball bat or something like that, or no, point a machete at her. But that was out of a bigger conversation when he said, if you woke up and there was a woman there with a machete, what would you do? That was his response to it. But that's the one, because when I first started seeing him, that's all I saw. I only saw the shit side of him. And I was like, this guy's a fucking idiot. And then when I actually looked into him and listened to him, yes, he's a bit OTT sometimes, but most of the stuff he's done because he wanted it. He pushed for it by saying to himself, I'm a G, I'm going to do it. And he's done it. He's a fucking multi-millionaire. He's got a nice house, nice cars, got everything he wants because he told himself he could.
There was the end of, if you watch, I'd recommend if anyone watching to watch him be interviewed by Piers Morgan. And at the end of the interview, Piers Morgan asked him, are you proud of what you've done? Are you proud that young males are aspiring to be like you? And he responded, which I won't be able to quote him exactly, but he said that he was a successful businessman that didn't have to worry about money for the rest of his life. He has a good family, enjoys his day-to-day life, and he cares for the people around him and the women around him. And for me, if you're not aspiring to do that, then, or you don't agree with that, then I don't know what to say, to be honest.
And I totally understand what you are saying. I totally get what you are saying. And I agree to a large degree of aspiring to do the best that you can be. But what if that involves sacrificing a camel? Right, moving on. If you don't get what I just said there, you need to go back and watch the start of the episode to the end, and you can do by heading over to the YouTube and clicking that subscribe button and like button on all the episodes that we have here on the Elite Thinking Club. We really do value you guys. Remember that. We are, if you will, a collective consciousness. We are a collective mind, and we create that mastermind by contribution. So if you have anything that you want to say to us or want us to discuss on this channel, please become part of the community. Head over there, join us and subscribe. I love that. So
you got some comments on TikTok?
Oh, let's hit them. Let's have some comments. Let's have some comments. Come on then. Do you want to read them out, Michael?
No, you can.
All right. I don't know where I need to catch up with. Okay, Lollipop. Let's go with her. Andrew Tate is very good at twisting how the media portray him to his advantage. Girl in the corner. Have they found him yet? Truth Seeker. I don't believe the Andrew Tate thing because they can arrest him, but no one from the Maxwell sex case. Well said. I absolutely love that. And we will not go into that just yet. That is for another episode later on down the pipeline. So very well said, though. That is something that we have touched on in the past about if you will, ruling elite pedo rings and the big circle of, and we'll go into that on another episode. But I love that you mentioned that. John, yeah, I see you. No problem, my brother. Lollipop. Andrew Tate literally wrote his own website as grooming definition, so it's there to see. I think it's because he started speaking the truth. They didn't like it. He's not innocent in everything, though. Yep, totally not. I mean, at the end of the day,
how I feel.
One of the things that I always try and be is in a state of understanding. Once you have, if you will, once you have been hungry, you will know the satisfaction of being fed. Okay, so in essence, healed people, let me start with, it takes one to know one. Healed people can see a damaged person and relate. They can say, I've been where you've been. A damaged person can't necessarily see a healed person because they're not healed yet. The way to look at this is metaphorically like the caterpillar and the butterfly. When a caterpillar is consuming, it doesn't know why it's doing it. It just does it. It's natural. It doesn't know why. And it's in a state of constant isolation. The butterfly, on the other hand, has been where the caterpillar's been and has evolved. It's gone through a process of evolution. It has gone into isolation to the point where it's very painful, very, very painful. However, on the end of that, beautiful butterfly flies away. When a butterfly looks back at the caterpillar, in essence, the caterpillar is seeing the butterfly like, look at you fucking flying around, you fucking thing. It's in a state of awe, but also in a state of envy. The butterfly looks back at the caterpillar and says, trust me, I've been where you've been. I can't come back, but you can come with me. And that sometimes is where the world is. Now, if you are a healed person, you know exactly what I'm talking about. And if you are a person that's going through a lot of pain and all that suffering right now, trust me when I tell you, you are the only person who can get yourself out of it. But you have to endure the process. And if anyone is trying to help, if you see butterflies doing what they're doing, for example, our Jordan Petersons, Andrew Tates, or even just spiritual people, genuine good people, look to them for their wisdom, look to them for their knowledge, look to them for their guidance, because 9 times out of 10, it takes one to know one, and they've been where you've been. So, namaste. We are now going to talk about something where some people may not particularly like the conversation. However, here at the Elite Thinking Club, we explore all avenues and all areas with unbiased, very, if you will, broad mindset. One of the things that's really important right now in society's issues is the lack of leadership, in a sense that there are many online communities grooming, I would call, a generation of mental illness. In 1,000 years' time, if they archaeologically were to dig up our bones, they would find bones of a male and bones of a female. That is fact. What is happening right now is there is a massive community online of younger generations joining them, and they are going through what I would describe as mental illness, being groomed into sex change. What you identify as and what you actually are 2 different things. And a lot of people don't like this subject simply because they believe in pro-choice. You are on this planet to experience it and love others and have a good time. However, when you get to the point when you are confused as to what you are, rather than what you think you are, I believe there is an issue. If I put on a costume of a lion and start asking the world to treat me as such, view me as such, and and whatever, would you view me as someone who needs to have their head analyzed? Would you trust me with your children?
Yes,
No.
and then no.
Yes and no. I'm opening this up, guys. This is obviously one of those rabbit holes that we're going down.
If you genuinely believed you were a lion, I obviously know you are not a lion. You are biologically a man. You're a human being, not an animal. I would respect your choice to believe you were a lion, but I would worry that maybe you were mentally challenged and would possibly need to get some therapy. And because of that, I would worry about your mental stability in looking after my children. So the answer to the children thing is no, I'll find a different babysitter, thanks.
Michael.
Have you been listening to too much Katy Perry?
I don't listen to Katy Perry.
I know where you're going with that, Michael. I've just clicked.
I don't know where you're going with that, Michael. Feel free to go there. All right, hear me for the song. Yeah. Michael, thank you for lightening the mood, because when I talk about this sort of thing, I end up going into a very serious mode, and I sometimes struggle to get out of it. But it's something I'm very passionate about. Now, I have no issues with people's pro-choice. I don't see it as a thing. But what I am very passionate about is how so much that it's almost worrying when a mind that is so vulnerable and so easily influenced isn't stable enough to make the decision for themselves. It's
wrong that it's being promoted and pushed as much as it is on the younger generation. It's that is what is wrong in this, is that it's being pushed and promoted. And if somebody's sitting there feeling a little bit like the odd one out or not quite sure they've found themselves, it's very easy for them to be, oh, maybe it's because I identify as this, or maybe I should look into this. And they're easily influenced because of their vulnerability and their age. And I just think that we should let children be children, let youngsters be youngsters. Are they old enough to really understand what they're doing and saying? There's been a lot of backlash where youngsters, especially sort of in America, have had operations, organs and parts removed from their body, and they're left scarred for the rest of their lives. And then a few years later, when they turn 21, they say, I actually regret it. I shouldn't have had, that cut off. I shouldn't have had this done. And there's no going back.
You know, they're the top of the suicide list at the moment.
They are.
The ones that go, the kids that do it,
yes,
and regret it, are the ones that are the top of the list, more than like any other area of mental issues. They're the top of it. So I think if you're over 18, then make your own decision. It's up to you whether you want to change sex. But under 18, I think it should be left until you know.
Until you're an adult. Yeah. Because the implications long term are life changing, especially, if you're taking things and stop yourself from having children and things like that. So
some would say live with the choice, embrace the choice. I remember being young at 21, and I was just a young, fit, healthy soldier. Had money in my pocket. I was just guns and girls. I didn't care about nothing else, quite literally. And I remember one time I was at a stage where I thought, I don't actually want children. I don't want kids. Never do I want kids. And I don't want to get a girl pregnant because she's going to get pregnant and then I'm going to have to stop living this awesome fucking life. I am so grateful that I didn't get the snip. So grateful that I didn't go through with it, because now at an older age, or stage, should I say, it's something I'm looking forward to, to be at that stage in life where I'm able to embrace a new version of myself that is gonna one day have those treasures. Had I made that choice when I was younger, I wouldn't be able to do that in my future life, and my future self would most likely regret it or be very upset about that choice. And therefore, what I'm trying to get at here is to these younger generations that are potentially watching. If you're going through a stage right now where you are confused, trust me when I say this, just take your time and process the thought before making any decision that could be permanent, because there's no undoing it once it's done.
And really look into it, really look into every angle of it, because it can't be reversed.
Now, let's not get too preachy, because sometimes it can sound really preachy, but I don't want to get too preachy because it's not, I don't want to be a negative person and shit. So back to what we was talking about, the elf bars. No one knew, well, some did, but not many people knew that one elf bar is the equivalent of 42 cigarettes as far as the amount of nicotine that it contains. And what you just highlighted there about being the number one suicide reason for suicide is, you know, people making decisions about sex change and then regretting it later on in life. Obviously, what it is I believe, lack of information, lack of outcome. People don't understand it in the depth that we've just tried to explain it. And it's really, really important that people are exposed to it. Now,
it's being informed, isn't it?
Yeah.
I think that...
Sorry, go on, Lucas.
I think that if anyone is confused, you need to watch a documentary called What is a Woman by Matt Walsh.
Brilliant.
He shows the insides to what everything is and the downsides. Now, that we spoke a bit about choice and when is the right age to make that choice. Now, growing up and maturity is a continuous scale. You're not just going to wake up one day when you're 18 or when you turn 18 and go, oh, everything's so clear.
Yeah.
So that's decision where is the right age is a bit of a grey area, but that's a different topic. But you can have hormone imbalances from any age, but your physical sex change can't occur until you're 18. So there's people out there at the moment that are for helping younger generations with hormone imbalances, and they're basically killing off this generation. But that's my opinion. But you need to watch the documentary called What is a Woman, because there's a lot of questions in there, and it's really eye-opening into the sort of the side effects of stuff like that.
Where can we get this documentary, Lucas? It's something I definitely want to watch now.
It's on YouTube. It's on YouTube,
and it's called What is a Woman by who?
Matt Walsh.
Matt Walsh.
I think it's also on Rumble if you can't find it on YouTube.
Okay, very, very good. Very, very good. Yeah, I mean, hormone imbalance in younger generations is a fact. Younger generations in men are definitely producing less testosterone than, say, generations of my granddad's era. My granddad's era were pumped with testosterone, and I don't know if that's anything to do with the diet choices or just the society's environment, or if it's too much screen time, or if it's, you know, too much overload of certain testosterone, then it comes at like a massive knock-on effect to crash. I don't know the reasons why, but it's definitely been proven, don't quote me on what study, but I think it's quite known now that the testosterone in males at the age of 21 is significantly lower than that of, I'd say, 80 years ago, which is also something to consider, because could it be that imbalance that is causing them to feel more feminine because they're lacking in the testosterone that makes them feel more masculine? You know, it's difficult, but that is why it is very important that leadership in men is not shut down like the media want it to be, but promoted more. You know, promoted more, not in toxic masculinity way. But what is toxic masculinity anyway? When a man is a man being his full self, you know, it's not really toxic. You know, sometimes I remember when I used to go and train, I used to get a little bit upset that I couldn't roar in the gym. You know, I really got upset about it at one point. I was like, excuse my language, but I was like, at this place, I like to throw weights. I like to get physical. You know, it is what it is. People would always say, you know, why do you enjoy physical contact sports? And I'd be like, because like, if you've never practiced physical contact sports, you wouldn't appreciate the athlete the way you're meant to, you know? And it's like when I ride motorbikes, like I feel so in control of my own life. It's almost like, whether or not I've got adrenaline issues, but I definitely enjoy it. Like the feeling I have after it is euphoric. I can take on the world when I hop off the motorcycle after riding it, and I'm like, I'm fucking invincible. Now, it's not that like the fear of death that keeps you alive. It's not like that. Like when I was a soldier, it's more, I can't explain it. I don't have the words to articulate what I'm trying to say, but basically what I am saying is there is something in all men where the society shouldn't be trying to shut it down, because there will become a point where if you no longer have that masculinity, the imbalance of the masculine and feminine in the world as a whole will definitely, there'll be an imbalance, and it won't be good for society. But that's just
No, it would have a huge effect on humanity, 100%.
Some of these comments have been amazing, by the way, and I just want to, give some of the viewers some credit. I mean, girl in the corner, we was talking about the sex changes and stuff like that. It gets weirder. Have you seen the pro-age people? No boundaries on age and your ageist. And Lollipop said it shouldn't be pushed so early. It's a massive thing to consider. I imagine, to be honest, those feelings. And your documentary that you mentioned, Lucas, Truth Seeker, she said that. And call me human. I see you, brother. Communication is only effective if it is understood. That is very, very true. I mean, very true. I can't even think of what to say on that. That's brilliant. But yeah, everyone, everywhere, peace and love. Absolutely love your comments. Liz, Michael, Lucas, thank you. We're getting to the end of the episode right now. And is there anything that you guys feel is on the things that we've been chatting about relevant and you want to say before we say goodbye?
I'd like to know everyone's opinions going back to the gender thing. Do you think where do you stand on people? So, for example, a male that was not successful in their sport, identifying as a female and competing in the same sport, but the female gender side. Do you think that's fair?
No, it's not fair. We've had an episode on
Oh, okay. Sorry, I'm a bit behind.
No, it's fine.
Cool,
it's not fair. It's not fair. And it's
good that people are talking about it, though.
All of the hard work and dedication done by the whatever sport it is, whatever female sport it is, by those females, participating in that sport, just gets absolutely crushed by that biological male saying that he identifies as a woman and walking into that sport and taking the trophy. It's not fair. It's not equal at all.
As quite an easy example, I haven't done UFC before, but if I went and did female UFC, I'd be able to go quite far up the list with no skill, just because I physically have been built like this.
Not if you went against me, you wouldn't.
Oh, that's fighting talk, that is.
Yeah.
I'm only joking.
A lot of women say that till they get the first backhander.
Yeah, now don't get me wrong. There's a definite quality in a gentleman to know when to not hit a woman, but there is also a dominance in a male to know when to. And I'm not saying I'm promoting violence. I'm not saying I'm promoting women beating. I'm not saying that at all. But no man, when he has the true masculine energy, should ever be under threat by any woman, because they should be the energy you cannot deny, and they will sense it. Like, I've been in a situation before where one look I've given to a girl is like, you need to calm down, because in my mind as a gentleman, I know one swift throat jab and you'll be out the game. But I would never do it because I know that. But sometimes in a situation, I believe right now in this society, a lot of women know that gentlemen won't hit them, so they provoke and then they poke, and then it gets to the point where I believe a lot of men who they lack the self-control and don't know how to handle a situation, get it fired back on them. When it came to the UFC and fighting, I believe in its necessary evil that it highlighted that very, very quickly to society, that holy fuck, I know she has that identifying as woman, but that is a fucking man. Do you know what I mean? And therefore there is a
woman.
there is an obvious reason that it shouldn't be allowed. And I like that it highlighted to society, not that you should be submissive. I'm not saying that you should just roll over and just let a man, do whatever he wants to you, but just understand the power dynamic in physical ability from gender. Do you get what I mean? And Lucas, in answer to your question, we did an episode on this, and if you want to know about that episode, then you definitely got to head over to the YouTube right now, take a look at the Elite Thinking Club channel and see that episode. I think it was labeled gender equality, and we touched on all of those, if you will, sub chapters within that episode. So definitely go over and watch that, and we definitely love you guys for doing so. Lucas,
and we use all facts.
That was that was instigated by the swimmer, wasn't it?
Yeah, and the
Remember?
tennis player. The tennis
Yes,
player as well.
yes, it was.
They're
Yeah.
like the 300th male tennis player beat like the top 10 female tennis player.
Mm. But this is also something that I definitely want to say before we leave. I'm not against your sexual orientation at all. This isn't want to dig at people like that, because some people are like that. You may find a female, we've had episodes on this, you may find a female who embodies masculine energy and she's attracted to other females, and you know, you can tell because she dresses if you will, with masculine energy and embodies masculine energy, does certain things like that, and then you get, you know, guys who are feminine and they do feminine things and they dress feminine. That's all cool, but what we're trying to highlight there is how younger generations who are seeking guidance sometimes can be misled, and that is something that society, I believe, needs to come together and admit, and then think of solutions to overcome the issue. That's what I believe. Anyway, like I said, Liz, Michael, Lucas, absolutely love you guys, and thank you so much for being here. You know, you never miss a beat. Lucas, you were here from day. Liz, you were here from day. Michael, you're here from day, and I never, ever, ever can replace you guys. So I love you guys and I value you guys so much. You guys, the viewers, always here every week, and your comments are incredible. I absolutely love that your vibe attracts your tribe, and I hope that you guys have found that within us. We are the Elite Thinking Club, and together we are the esoteric thinkers and the masterminds that come together and explore everything. So if you haven't done so already and you've watched this far, you should hit that subscribe button, hit that like button, let us know, view the comments, hit us up, let us know what you want to talk about next. View us on the Twitch, view us on the TikTok, view us on the YouTube, and I suppose we will see you same time next week. So for myself, Liz, Michael, and Lucas tonight, everyone everywhere, peace and love.
Bye.
See you later.